This conference will now be recorded.
Lance Steve is our past region chair, and he is a very, very vibrant member of the Lions Club of Portmore. And apart from the Melvin Jones Trio, I see that he has some other accreditations here, which he will tell us about at another time. I'm not familiar with them. Lance Steve, without further ado, I welcome you to this session, and I know that you do a fantastic job as usual. Over to you now, Lance Steve.
Thank you very much, Lion Paulette. Good afternoon, Lance and Leos. Welcome to our online class for Club Secretary Workshop. Just to get out of the way, the designation ALLIG, Advanced Land Leadership Institute Graduate, and RLLIG, Regional Lands Leadership Institute Graduates. I'm sure many of you have those as well. So congratulations to our secretaries, and you have been duly elected to the position of secretary. It's I would say the best position you can have in the club, because through the position of secretary, your club is either known or unknown. Your club will be recognized or not recognized. It doesn't matter how many service projects your club may have done, or how many large and successful fundraising events your club may have. If they're not being reported by the secretary, then your club will never be known. So it's for that reason why you're a very important person in your club. Just a quick housekeeping. You will see in the chat room there's a link to an evaluation report that you will complete at the end of the session. And if you had joined previous classes before and didn't complete it, you can also do it for each of those classes that you visited. And it should be either link to complete, just 3 pages. I know most of you like to take notes. I just want to point out to you that in the body of your screen, when you click in the body, you will see a camera to the right-hand side. If any slide that you want information on, you can just click on the camera and it will take a snapshot of that screen for you and just save it to your desktop. So you don't have to be writing anything for the moment. Okay, so we have all been given the task of secretary, but I want to get a feedback from who is here. We have 3 types of secretaries. We have the first timers, we have the returning residents, and we have the permanent secretaries. So let's just do a quick poll. Can we see who are the first time secretaries? Just say hi to have who we are.
Hi, Lance Steve, Lance Siobhan, first time.
Hi. Okay.
Hi, Steve, Lan Cassandra, first time.
Okay.
Hi, Lan Valerie Hamilton.
Okay.
Lion Sidonie Griffith, first timer.
And Delia.
Delia, I was a secretary for my Leo Club for 2 years, 2 consecutive admin years. So I don't know if that counts as first time or now that I'm in Lions Club.
Well, it's the same functionality, but yeah. All right, then we have a special group of secretaries called the returning resident. Now, to be called a returning resident means that you served as secretary before, however, you served more than 5 years ago as secretary, and you're now been coming back as a secretary. Anybody in that category?
Yes, Lance Steve, Lan Bernice here.
Welcome. And
thank you.
The reason for these returning residents is that some of the things we did 5 years ago when we were secretaries have now changed. Lots of things have changed, so we want to make sure that you are aware of the changes. And then now we have our permanent secretaries, all those who have served for the position 3 or more times in their life as a member. Anybody out there in that category?
Sure.
Present line.
Yes, Lance Steve, Lan Pauline.
Okay.
Present line Steve, line Elva.
Hi. So I have a feel of the class and who will be going through with it. So on to the books. So I'll provide some basic information which will prepare you in your new position. Upon completion, you'll recognize the purpose of a Lions Club and its placement in the structure of Lions International. I will summarize the responsibilities of Club Secretary and also give you some information and resources that you will need to guide you along the way. I've divided up the section into this course into 5 sections, not too long. Just a little after 1, so the day is young, so we can go through it quickly. The first section of our introduction all right, as secretary, are integral part of the leadership team working to support the club president as he or she leads your service in your club in service activities that help you support your local community and surrounding areas. It is also important to remember that you are an integral part of something much bigger. So we look at the structure of Lions Clubs International, which is a large network of Lions Clubs, and the club that you're in is at the center of this large structure. The structure facilitates communication and promotes service on local, regional, and global scale. You know, just a little background of where we are. We're in a club which consists of a minimum of 20 members. Then you have the zone, which between 4 to 8 clubs. Then you have the region, which is between 10 to 16 clubs. And we have the district. We should have at least 35 clubs with 1,250 active members. And you have a group of districts which will form the multiple district. And the largest areas are the constitutional area. So looking at where we are now in Constitution Area 1. Previously, we were in Area 3. We're in multiple District 60. We're in District 60B. And you are in your various regions, perhaps 1 and 4. And in your various respective zones, 1A, 1B, 4A, 4B, 4C. And then you have your club. So you see where you're fitting in the whole scheme of things. And at a club is the individual members that form the heart of our association. And without their commitment to serving others locally, we would not maintain our legacy of service as a club. Our mission as an international association is to empower volunteers to serve their communities, meet humanitarian needs, encourage peace, and promote international understanding through Lions Clubs. I know most of you may not know this offhand, so you can take a quick snapshot of this page. And you know, at the end of the course, we'll be having it available online at the district. So if you want to remember those instead of writing, just take a quick snap on of it. And that was section 1. Section 2, we look at the club's leadership team. Each Lions Club is comprised of a team of leaders that support the activities of the club. And a basic organizational chart, not necessarily the latest, we have our club members, then the board of directors, president, then we have the secretary, the vice presidents, immediate past, and the treasurer. There are other positions which we will discuss otherwise. So as secretary, you're the business manager of the club. You're the liaison officer between the club and your district, as well as the association. And you're under the supervision of the president and the board of directors. So you don't really call the shots. You have a lot of people that you report to. You know, just to remind you, the board of directors have a few positions listed: president, immediate past president, the vice presidents, be it 1, 2, or 3, the secretary, the treasurer, the tamer, which is optional, the tail twister, which is optional. You have some new ones: the marketing and communication, you have the club service coordinator, and then the other elected directors who serves 1- and 2-year positions. So we're going to take a look at the shared responsibilities that you have, you know, as a board. The board of directors shall consider and shape all new business and policy of the club. You have the power to modify and override the action of any officer of the club. And you see that you maintain at least 2 separate funds. You separate your admin funds from your activities funds. You should submit all new business and policy to respective standards or special club committees for study and recommendation. You should appoint the surety for the bonding of any officer, typically the treasurer. And it's something that we're not really practicing in our area, but it's something that we should be doing. As a board, you should authorize all expenditures and shall not create any indebtedness beyond the club. You should not authorize expenditures for administrative purposes and use its funds from public. You should appoint on recommendation a finance committee of the bank or banks where funds should be deposited. So you're part of the whole leadership team that should see that these are always adhered to. You can do a quick snapshot if you need it. So what are some of the things you can do as a club secretary to help the club leadership work together? See to it that things are kept in order. We follow the policies of the club and be familiar with our constitution. And to help you along the way, we have resources through our Lions Resource Center. There are lots of free online courses, and I'll be mentioning them, a few of them throughout the course. And I invite you to go on, once you log on, go on to the Lions Learning and take these courses. They're good for you both as a Lion and as an individual. Courses such as Introduction to Lions Leadership, Effective Listening, Effective Teams are out there. So we now get into the meat of the matter, the responsibilities of the club secretary. As a club business manager and member of the board of directors, your primary responsibilities include, and may not be limited to, attending all club and board meetings, organizing club and board meetings, recording meeting minutes, keeping club records, receiving and responding to club correspondence on a timely basis, completing and filing all club reports with Lions International and your district. And you are to cooperate as an active member of the District Governors Advisory Committee. Not much things to do, but it will keep you busy for the year. How many meetings will you attend? Well, first and foremost, you should, to the best of your ability, attend all club and board meetings. So a typical schedule of your life as a secretary: on a monthly basis, you have the board meetings, and then you also have your club regular meetings. As needed, there are some special meetings of the board of directors, which can be requested by 3 or more board members. And you have special club meetings, which can be requested, but you must give 10 days notice for such a meeting. Annually, you have your officers transition meeting, where internally you're handing over your files and things from the outgoing to the incoming. You should make it a good tradition to hand over things. And annually you also have your club anniversary, which is something important we do in Lionism, to remember our club's anniversary as best as possible. A large portion of your responsibility is also to organizing your meetings. And doing so, there are 3 stages of organizing your meeting. First of all, unlike other positions in the club, where your active life in that position takes place between the gong, when meeting is called to order and when meeting ends. It doesn't really work so for the secretary. As a secretary, it's almost a never-ending cycle. There are things that you need to do before the meeting, things that you should do during the meeting, and things that you should do immediately after the meeting while they're still fresh in your mind. So we'll look at some of them. So before the meeting, you provide members with advance notice of the meeting dates and times. And importantly also, if there's any instance where you're changing your meeting date or your venue for the meeting, not only should your members be aware, but your cabinet officers should also be advised as a courtesy, just in case they may be passing through the area and end up going somewhere else on a particular night when you're not meeting or not meeting there. In conjunction with the president, you create the agenda for the meeting. And you should also put together correspondence and make copies available to your chairpersons or the members who it affects directly. Also, if you receive any awards or notification from international, have them available to be presented at the meeting or in the kits for members. And you prepare your roster for taking attendance at the meeting. During the meeting, there's a lot to be done. And as secretary, you should almost be, if not the earliest, but one of the early persons at a meeting, just about the same time as the tamer, so you can get settled down and have everything sorted out. But during the meeting, you take the attendance, you have your device or your pen and paper to record the meeting minutes, and it document any guest speakers or non-land visitors or visitors to your meeting in your attendance book. You collect and record dues and give members receipts. Now put a little mark beside it because it's a little bit different in our culture where we make the treasurer does all the collection, but ideally Lions is saying that funds should actually pass through more than one person. So the secretary should really receive it and say, okay, I got $10 from Land X, then pass it over to the treasurer. So there's no doubt as to what was really collected. But we have been traditionally just let everybody go to the treasurer and pay. And you should also gather information from your committee chairpersons. As a secretary, you can either design a form and give it to your chairpersons or insist that they write a little email prior to the meeting of what their report is. So you have something written which will help in preparing your minutes as well as your reports. And then if you have new members, always have forms available for them to complete. After your meeting, you go through your attendance and you now look at who has a makeup, who is at large and everything, and all the apologies to complete all the blanks that were there when you did the attendance during the meetings. Bear in mind the makeup rule of attending a meeting, a committee meeting, visit international, or you're on duty at work counts as a makeup for your attendance. You should record awards are represented during that meeting and verify money is collected and record payments. So typically, your raffle and tail twisting, they should advise that you will of what was collected during the meeting, and you will also record that in your minutes. And deposits represent money collected to the treasurer and obtain receipt. And you should also file a copy of the meeting minutes after they have been approved. Keep a good file. We're in the modern age, so you can use soft copy online, or if you still want to keep a hard copy, choice is yours. And also, you should follow up any outstanding issues from the meeting. Send out reminders to remember who should have done what, so it's not left behind until the next meeting when you get the minutes and say, oh, I should have done that. Follow up prior before the next meeting in these matters. The secretary is also responsible for preparing the board meetings. It is important that the secretary's responsibilities vary to regional practice. So you may have an assistant secretary that will help with some things as well. And you should also adapt the suggestions here to see how best can fit your club. Recording meeting minutes. Spend some time with the outgoing secretary to review the current way minutes are taken. A typical minutes would have the type of meeting, whether it's a regular meeting, a special meeting, or a board of directors meeting, the date and place of the meeting, the person who presided over the meeting, whether the president or a vice president. I should indicate whether previous minutes were read, circulated, and approved. All motions that were taken during the meetings, who moved it, and if they were sustained or lost. Any points of order or appeals, and whether they were sustained or lost. And when the meeting was called to order and when it was adjourned. So your minutes should cover the essence of the important matters of the meeting. It's not meant to record all the details of who does what and who say what, and Lance Steve said he wanted this, and Ina decided she wanted blue instead of pink. Those details are not really that necessary. It's just the decisions that were taken. And also any debate is not necessary to record in the minutes, just the decisions that were taken. Proper terminology is also important, and your minutes should reflect the appropriate grammar of your country or culture. That is no slangs nor indecent language. So keeping club records. The next item. There should be several club files that you have passing from generation to generation of secretaries. The club charter, constitution and bylaws, your club history, which You'll also try and update during the year each time. A good thing to include your history is the list of all who served in the various board positions and committee positions. They can track how your members have done in the club. Minutes of all club and board director meeting minutes should be a file. You don't have to walk with every meeting, but at least have it somewhere safe and secured. And your annual reports of club officers and committees, your activity reports, and your attendance of members. If your club does not have a system for maintaining records, including attendance and payment of dues, now would be a good time to get one started as the incoming secretary. Receiving and responding to correspondence. The club secretary will receive a lot of information from LANS International and other external bodies pertaining to training, events, and meetings. Correspondence may come electronically or through the post and involve the president, treasurer, committee, and other project chairpersons. It's important that all correspondence are read and open on a timely basis. So as soon as you receive an email, read it and see what it's saying, or a letter, read it and see what it's saying. Don't wait till the day of your meeting to start checking for all the emails and realize that half of them, the dates were gone. It is strongly recommended that the club secretary and president meet at the start of the term to discuss how correspondence will be answered, kept, and reported. In sub-clubs, the secretary responds for the club newsletter and is integral to the club's public relations. So you may have that at the task, or you may be on the committee that do it. If you're not responsible for these duties, it will be important that you be in close contact with those persons who are. This ensures that all important club news are published. Completing and filing all club reports, very important. This is where we will know if your club exists or not. It is important to submit accurate and timely reports as your club strives to earn the Club Excellence Award. Some of the reports and forms you are responsible for: the monthly membership report, which is done online through the MyLCI, your club service reporting, which is done through the MyLAN, your club officer report, your club supplies order form, and there's also other monthly district reports that you are required to complete as well. The MyLCI is a reporting website used by many LANs clubs around the world, and all required forms are submitted here for your membership report. As I said, the service report are done through the MyLAN. So once you log on, this is what the screen looks like, and through it you can submit your monthly membership and officers report. You can view, update, and download club member information, print membership cards. You can log your service activities now done through the MyLAN, and you can review the service activities that your club have been in. Just want to point out on the matter of membership cards, where previously International would send a kit at the start of your year with some cards that you give to each of your members in good standing. It's now changed. You now go on the site and you print it on any cardstock paper and you distribute it to your members. They no longer send the actual forms. And once new club officers are reported to LANS International, an email will be sent to those officers. If any of the secretaries here have not received an email by now, you need to ensure that your current email address is what we have on record for you at International. It's very important. And there's also links to the MyLCI that would help you how to use it. Wow. Sounds like quite a lot, but it's not so bad. Now to hear back from some of you. Just a quick question here. Question 1. Clip a club minutes typically record all of the following except. Anybody has the answer?
Who said what at the meeting?
Anybody else? That is correct. So discussions are not recorded. Only those members who made a motion or second are recorded. And question number 2. If a motion doesn't receive enough votes, it is reported as having failed. Is that true or false? Don't all shout at the same time.
False.
False. That is correct. It will be reported as lost or defeated. And the last question here now. Club secretaries are responsible for all but the following: ordering supplies, scheduling meetings, reading and distributing club correspondence, maintaining club files.
C.
Any other answer?
A, ordering club supplies.
Any other answer?
A, ordering club supplies.
Scheduling meetings. B.
Okay, that is correct. Scheduling meetings. The club president is responsible for scheduling meetings. However, the club secretary is responsible for notifying the meeting to the participants. That's very important to know that. So, the last thing I want to mention is the topic. You're cooperating as an active member of the District Governor's Advisory Committee of the zone. And this advisory committee is comprised of the zone chairperson, the club president, and club secretaries within the zone. The committee advises the zone chairperson about matters within the zone and makes recommendations on matters affecting all clubs in the district. The zone chairperson then shares the recommendations with the district governor and the district cabinet. So therefore, your presence is really important at the zone meeting. As a member of that advisory committee, you work with the zone chairperson to ensure every club in your zone operates efficiently and follows the constitution and bylaws. Promote attendance at the district and multiple district international conventions. Promote attendance at charter nights or club anniversaries. Discuss ways of helping clubs that need assistance with membership growth or leadership development. It should be a learning experience when you go to these zone meetings. And you promote various club functions and events such as interclub meetings, installation of officers, induction of new members, and dinner meetings if your club have those. It's a good networking at the zone level. You will also be requested to assist in compiling reports in preparation for the zone meeting. And you'll also be assisted in preparation if your club was asked to host a zone meeting. Let's go back to the first item. You will assist in compiling. So therefore, the report from the club is really the president's report, but you'll assist the president by giving information on certain numbers and data that you will have. So it's really a team effort to complete the zone meeting reports, not just the secretary going to do everything from scratch alone. And you know, this district governors advisory meeting, we meet at least 3 times annually, and allows you to exchange ideas regarding programs, projects, fundraising, and membership issues. Offers a forum for establishing cooperative relationships between clubs. It gives an opportunity to meet other lands in your area. Just to remind you again, we have the Lands Learning Center where there are free online courses. Some of the other courses include public relations, public speaking, and meeting management. All free to do at your own time and convenience. So that completes section 3. Section 4 is planning your term as secretary. And the goal is to provide you with guidance for structuring your term as a club secretary. We'll identify ways to prepare for your new role and responsibilities, outline the outgoing actions you will need to undertake throughout your term, identify items to consider as your club transitions into the next leadership team. So it's a flowing chart of what you need to do in your planning. Before you officially take office, there are several steps you can take to better prepare yourself. First, you should attend the club office training, and you're all here today, so you have accomplished that. Meet with the current secretary to review any outstanding issues that should be handed over to you. They may have received correspondence of things which will take place after July 1. So those correspondence should be given to you. If you use my LCI for reporting, you should create your own account now and review the training materials. If you already have a my LCI logon, it will be still valid. You don't need to create a new one. You need to verify the officer membership information to see that it's correct on your attendance. People may have changed their email addresses and telephone numbers. Please ensure that they are as current as possible. And you work with your club president and treasurer on the annual budget and setting up any committees for the new year. On a monthly basis, you will attend club and board meetings. You will submit your monthly membership reports. You complete all your activities that were complete for the month on the My Line you'll do. Keep member records up to date. Collect and turn over money to the treasurer and obtain a receipt. And respond to any letters or correspondence received to you by you. On a quarterly basis, you'll attend all zone meetings with the club president. You report to the president and the board any delinquency issues
I'm on a meeting.
and actions taken to correct.
Yeah.
So just to emphasize this one a bit, the treasurer will have the list of those who are owing dues or not so current. As secretary, it's your duty to bring that matter to the board and also to send out notice letters to the members. Members, by standard contract, should be 6 months in advance, but your club may have bylaws to make it different than the 6 months. So if members are delinquent in that, you need to take early action so that they don't go owing too much, and then by the time you have to drop them, they leave the club owing 2 years dues and some exorbitant figures. So you need to bring these matters to the board and let it be dealt with promptly. And as you know, you get your invoices semi-annually from International and the district for your dues. Ensure that your membership numbers are correct so that you're not overbilled or in some case underbilled based on your current club members. So make sure that your new members are added or whoever has been terminated or deceased are updated on your records with International. And you can work along with your treasurer to issue invoice statements to your members. Some clubs give invoice at the start of the year, some give it quarterly or semi-annual, but make sure that members know what their obligations are. As needed, you should review membership applications and file in your club records. Submit new membership information to International timely. Order club supplies and awards through International, or you can buy awards locally from your vendors, your approved vendors, that is. Come election time, after the election, you will submit your PU 101 for the incoming year. It's the responsibility of the sitting secretary to submit that information for the coming year. You receive information about various conventions to pass on to your members. And you should also apply to International or the district for various members awards that are there. So you have reached the end of the year and you have now, still made it to the end. You're still alive, but you still have some more things to do. You play an important role in the future success of the club by planning an effective transition. You should check your records for 100% attendance and years of service awards and apply for those. Make new attendance record form for the coming year. Prepare annual reports of activities, donation hours, and everything, which is now easier since we have the My Line. Confirm that all your files are up to date and ready for transfer to the incoming secretary, or in some cases, some people are succeeding themselves. And you try and work with your incoming secretary to go through things and have a smooth transition. So, part of planning, what goals do you hope to achieve during your term as club secretary? It's now is the time to start thinking of them and get your mind attuned to it. Come Monday is June, so you have 1 month to get things ready for 1st of July. look at what you'd like to do, what mark you'd like to leave as secretary in your club. And they just remind of some more courses you can do during your year: writing your personal mission statement, goal setting, managing change. These are some of the courses that are available for you to use. Which just now to our resources. There are several resources that you can use, and you can go through them at any time during the year to remind you of them. There are various web pages available: My LCI, the Club Officer Orientation, Leadership Resource Center, which has the Lions Resource, the Lions Learning Center, and the club member resources. There are lots of things there that you can do. Lions International have invested a lot of money in developing these resources for us to utilize online. They no longer send out these sources. The onus is now on us as members to go on to their site and draw from these resources. There are also lots of videos available that you can watch it yourself. You can actually present some at your meetings for your activities meeting as well. As secretary, you should also be familiar with your various constitution and bylaws. There are three main constitution and bylaws: the International Constitution, the Standard Club Constitution, and the District Constitution. With regards to these constitutions, they're usually amended just after any international convention. So it's usually good to wait till about near the end of July to check on the site and get the latest version of these bylaws. It's always good to have them on you. I mean, you know, have them in soft copies. You can actually keep them on your phone if you have a smartphone. So during your meetings, you can refer to them as needs be. And there's also the Club Officer Team Manual. And there's also, importantly, the club ebook, what you call ebook for the secretaries, the president, the treasurers. Those give you a detail of all that you need to know and highlighting basically most of what we have covered here today. So, have we met my objective today? We have examined the purpose of your club and the importance position your club hold as a secretary, summarize the many responsibilities you have as club secretary, and I've also provided links to resources that you may need. I'm doing pretty good. So this is the first part of your role as a club secretary. Any questions? Anyone have any questions, anything I'm not sure of?
Line Steve,
Yeah.
Who is responsible for the members' files? I think you probably partly answered it, but it would be really good to say in this training, as I'm not sure.
Okay, a typical members file will have their copy of their membership application form. You can also build what is called a history form. I think it may still be available from International, where you list all the positions that the person have held over the years, all committees they have chaired, and awards they have received. And this file is kept by the secretary. And it's handed on year after year from secretary to secretary.
Thank you.
So it's one of those documents that should be really treasured and kept really protected. Now, you know, since I did not go through the Mind Line today, we're going to do that in detail tomorrow, because the Mind Line affects not only you as secretary, but your committee chairman, your service chairman in the club. And it's more or less a good load shedding in the responsibility of secretary. Typically, in the past, the secretary would have to depend on getting some report from a committee chairman as what was done, and then try and put together something meaningful for the monthly report. Now with the My Land, the committee or the person who is planning the committee will create the event on the My Land. They will post the pictures, do the planning and everything, put the success stories of it. And the responsibility now is for you as secretary to complete the event. Only the secretary can complete the event on the My Land, which makes your task, much less than what you would have to do before. The complete involves a number of persons, number of lands present at the project, the number of persons benefited, value for the project, and the impact of the project. But tomorrow we'll go through that part, much detail on the My Land.
Has anybody got any further questions for Lance Steve? No? Well, Lance Steve, thank you so much for that very, very, very interesting and informative presentation. And we look forward to listening to you again tomorrow with the My Land presentation. We're going to ask Lance Siobhan to do the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, fellow lands.
Good afternoon.
In Jamaica, we have an artist that sings, a famous song, and she says, gratitude is a must. And definitely, it is my pleasure, to have been asked to do the vote of thanks. And Lance Steve, on behalf of the incoming secretaries, both the first timers, the permanent secretaries, and the three secretaries that you provided us with earlier.
Returning
residents. Thank you. We just want to tell you thanks, for taking the time this afternoon to provide us with some detailed information. Like for me, being a first timer, it's eye-opening, and it is actually time for me now to start doing further research and going on to the learning center for anything that I have not grasped fully yet, so that when July comes, I'm ready for it. So again, thank you very much. The information that was provided was very clear and concise. And again, all I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know if it is that there's any questions that we may have, I know you won't hesitate to hear from us and to help us. So
sure. Looking forward to hear from everyone.
Thank you very much, Lance Siobhan. And of course, as you know, all the presentations will be made available after we've tidied them up a bit on the website. So you will have the opportunity to go through at your own pace afterwards. All the presentations, all 8 of them. And we look forward to the soup and what have you, and come back for another session at 2 o'clock. And that will be for committee chairs and their advisors. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much.
Good job. Good job.